Hey guys, welcome back to Vincefield Custom. So today we're going to do a repair on some fingers. Now I think this is Darth Vader. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's another character. I don't remember. I'm so kind of there's so much stuff coming in and out of the house lately with repairs and customs and stuff that I'm losing track of what the characters are. I'm just kind of in the zone of just fixing stuff and getting it done. So long story short, these fingers broke on this item. I think this is the story. I can't remember. And what happened was they got a replacement of the arm. But what happened was the replacement wasn't keying in correctly. So what they did is I told them that, you know, if you kind of sand down the area around here, it should fit in. But for some odd reason, it isn't working. So maybe this was the problem. Maybe it was just too deep. I'm not really sure. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to, but this arm works though, but these fingers are broken. Now, the best way of doing this, if it was possible, would be to get this arm off this item and get this arm off and just swap them, which I'm going to try on this one. But the problem I have is I'm pretty sure this key is like thick in here. And if I start trying to pry this open, what'll happen is I will start screwing up all this texture. And I don't want to do that. Screwing up all that texture would just lead to more problems. I mean, the idea was if you had a prying tool, I can't use this tool because it'll snap, but the idea is if you had like some kind of tool in there, you can pop this off, it would be great. One thing I can try to do, which I will try, is hit it with a blow dryer. So maybe if I hit it with a blow dryer and I kind of weaken this up, maybe it'll work. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it on this one first. If this one sort of like pops off, then I know this one will. The only reason why is because if I break these fingers on this, I just create more work. So, in worst case scenario, if this doesn't work with a blow dryer and I feel that just weakening it is not going to work, then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off the fingertips on this item and I'll just attach it to here and here. Basically, you just kind of match up where they broke and sort of just kind of like chop them down. Like even this one, I really don't even need to do that. This one I can sort of rebuild this thumb because it's fairly simple. It wouldn't be that big of a deal, but this finger is broken off pretty well, so I would need to do that. So, like I said, if, you know, it would be easier if these things could, like, if this was just magnetized and stuff, of course, this would be easier to get a different hand and blah, 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 but, you know, just kind of, let's see, let's kind of, that's in there pretty well. I could feel it. It's actually kind of loose. Actually, I feel it kind of loose here. So let's kind of wiggle it a little bit. Yeah, see, that's a little bit loose. That might work. Is this one a little loose? Nah, this one's not loose, of course, you know? So the problem is if you pop this off, and this one comes off, but you can't get that one off, all I would have to do is I would have to saw this off, cut out that key area, and then go and put that there, which might work. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and use a blow dryer. I'm going to see if I can get this hand off. If this thing comes off, because it's already loose a little bit, like, you guys can't see it, but I'm, like, moving it a little bit. So, we'll see. I mean, maybe this could work out pretty well where it's just a matter of swapping the arms and we're done. I don't know. We'll see. So, I'm going to hit this with a blow dryer. I'll come back, and if it pops off, then we'll see if we can get this one off. If not, we go the extra step to resculpting the finger. Okay, so, as you can see, there was, like, hardly any glue on this one. Literally, I hit it with the blow dryer, and I just wiggled it, and it popped right off. So, sometimes these factories don't put enough glue in there, and sometimes they put a shitload of glue in there. Now, you see all those little markings on here? See those little divots? They do that so this way when they put the glue in there, it squeezes into the divots, and it doesn't actually, you know, squeeze out of the area and around here. Now, I've just been hitting this one with the blow dryer, and I'm not getting any wiggling at all. And I'm actually afraid that it actually squeezed some glue over there. It looks like it might have. Now, I don't want to put a screwdriver in here and try and pry this, because what will happen is, you see how you have like a little bit of a piece around here? What will happen is that'll just crack right off. So since this arm is already shot, I'm just going to use my Dremel tool, and I'm going to Dremel this down here, cut this arm off of there, and then I'm going to go in very slow with the Dremel tool and just Dremel this out. And then once I pretty much get into this area here, I probably can just sort of like kind of cut this area out of the key out of here. And then after that, I'll just take this and glue it onto there, and then we're done. Now, if this was a simple thing where, you know, I hit this with a blow dryer and this with a blow dryer and it popped it right off, usually I would just tell the person, like, look, it really wasn't as much work as we thought. you know, you had to ship it back and forward me all this stuff, and literally it only took me like a few minutes. I would just say, like, you know what, just buy me lunch or something and we'll call it even. But this one, it's just not coming out and it's not wiggling. And the problem is the way this hand is, if you're not careful and you thinking you're getting it wiggled, what'll happen is you'll just snap this right off. So it's better to just take my time and just go with the Dremel tool, Dremel that right out, and then go there. So I'm going to go in the garage real quick. I'm going to Dremel that out. It should take me about like 5-10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, just depending on if there's a lot of glue in there. And then basically I should have this cleaned out where we can just glue that right on and we're done. And then these parts you could just throw in the trash, send it back. They can use it for a custom project if they want or whatever. You know, if you really wanted to take it further, you can actually take this hand and you could put something in there and make these removable and magnetized, but I don't think we're going that route. I think they just want it to be a nice, good setup and go from there. So basically, let me go in the garage and get this cut out now. Okay, so we got this all set up just to be glued and we're done. So what I did was, this hand was like this, right? So this piece goes like here. And all I did was I used my Dremel tool to Dremel this down flat. So then this fell off the item. And this was basically sort of like this, right? Sort of set up like in the arm. So once this was set up like this, you know, it was kind of just looking like that. I Dremeled around in here till I was able to actually pry this piece off. So this piece pried off, and that was gone. So then I sort of saw the key in here, and I had to kind of follow. See that little black area there? I knew that was like the flat part of the key. So this hand goes just like this now, right? So it works out. So what happened is when I was in here with the Dremel tool and I was Dremeling this out, all of a sudden the area around here sort of like the kind of twist. So I was able to take like a screwdriver and put it in here and pull that out. But what happened is there was a lot of glue in here. So this one they added a lot of glue. This one they added like like a little bit of a drop right here, you know. So this is what happens sometimes with factories. Sometimes they add a ton of glue and the thing will never come apart, and other times like that one they added just a drop. It all depends on which guy is feeling well that day and how much stuff they're using. So I needed to make sure I kept this flat part here. I needed to see that black because I have to make sure I put this on. Because if you're not paying attention and you do it wrong, you put the hand upside down, which we don't want to do. We want to make sure this hand is like this. So all I really need to do now is just hit this with a little black paint around here. And then I can go in here with some glue and get that in there. But you want to double check, triple check, make sure everything's looking good. Still there's some glue residue here that's sort of stopping it from going where I want it to. So I'm going to go back into the garage and clean out all this glue. So the way it worked is once that Dremel tool started hitting this glue in here, that glue really started to melt because I was really heating up that plastic. Now there is no way in hell with the amount of glue on this piece that I could have gotten that off with the blow dryer. It just wasn't going to work because there was all this glue that was up on here. So you see all this scraping here? Basically I was in there with my scraping tool in the garage and I was scraping out all this glue. That's how much glue was on there. It really, really went around all this item. So you can even see it around here. Like there's some glue around here and stuff. So there was a lot of glue on this hand. But so I'm going to go in the garage. I'm going to go and just sand this down a little bit more. Just kind of hit this a little bit. Just kind of get some more of this glue off of there. I want to double, triple check, making sure that this piece is going to work well. And then all I'm going to really do is use some of my glue and put that in there and do it like this. You know, I really don't need to go crazy with A's or any of that Magiscope stuff. Just some glue would work out good. Just in case down the line, using some of my glue, if this actually does drop or break or something happens to them down the line, this could probably pop off a little bit easier. But we are looking pretty good. So you just want to make sure that this is fitting well. Like I said, there's got to be a... Let's double check on here, make sure there's no glue residue sitting here. No, this one's looking good. So yeah, let me go in there, clean this up a bit, hit it with some black paint, and then we'll glue it on and we'll be done. Alright, so I went ahead and painted this wall with black paint, so we're ready to go. Once you put this piece on there, you don't see any white at all, just in case, you never know, so it's always safe to take that extra step. Like I said, we don't need to use A's or any of that stuff. Once I put this glue in there and I put enough in there, it's going to stay and it should be working pretty good. Now, I use BSI ice gel glue. I have a box here so you can see. I always use this gel stuff because it goes on great where it doesn't bleed. It's a gel and it works out great for everything I use. Now, If you don't want to use any of this a hobby glue, this ice gel stuff, or the BSI, you can use super glue. And there is Instaset or Kick was it Set Kicker or something, or something Kicker, I forget. Basically, once you put the glue on there and you hit this stuff with it, it dries instantly. Now, this is a black paint up item. If you use BSI gel glue, or even if you, especially if you use super glue, what happens is if you use a lot, the fumes of the glue will cloud up your paint. And that's why I always tell people, invest in the BSI ice gel glue for if you're a statue collector, because sometimes pieces break, fingers break. If you're not the type of person where you want to send it out to repair it, or you're going to repair it yourself and you're not going to go crazy, and you're happy with just putting a little dab of glue on there and a finger and walk away, this stuff is great because it doesn't cloud as much. It still can cloud, but not as much. If you put a drop of super glue here and you put this finger on there when you walk away, and once it cures, the super glue is so potent it'll cloud up your area there. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, no, but a majority of the time I've used super glue, it clouds up any of that paint work because it kind of reacts. It's such a strong fume. Now, if you have Instaset or Kicker, whatever, like I said, whatever that Kicker stuff is, you put a drop of your super glue, or you put a drop of this on there, and then you hit it with the Instaset. What this stuff does is it liquefies all the area around it, and it also Instasets the glue like this, like really fast. And therefore, if you do get any clouding, that liquid around there of the Instaset will actually protect it from getting any cloud. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be 100%, but a majority of the time it does help. But since I'm going to put a lot of glue in here to glue this on, I'm going to use this syringe, and I'm going to just squeeze a whole bunch of like this Instaset in there. So this will just go around it, and it'll bleed all around it. But as long as you like kind of let it sit, and you don't sit there and you play with it and rub it, and like once the Instaset's on there, it won't do any damage to your paints and stuff. But the other thing is you don't want to squeeze like gallons of it on there. Just like enough that what it does is it seeps around into the crack, it hits the glue, and it cures. So we're going to do this now. So also, one other thing is I always have a habit of spilling these bottles. Someday, I'm going to go find a container that'll make my life easier where I stop spilling this stuff. It just happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in there. So basically what I'm doing is just getting it like a little bit of like that much there is like, that's even too much. So like that much in that layer will be fine. You know, we'll put this aside like right there. If I need to get more, I'll get more. And basically make sure this got enough of this glue here to come out. And we're just going to throw a whole bunch of glue in here. I want the glue to go down and connect. I don't want it to seep around the edges. That's something you got to be careful of when you squeeze a lot of glue into something. You don't want to sit there and like have it seep around. So this hole is a little bit deeper, and it should work fine like so. Okay, so that's on there like that. Now it's kind of hard to do this with, you know, one person, but holding it pretty well, and then make sure, you know, I'm gonna grab a little bit more, and then basically, boom, just put that right up in there, squeeze that in there. That's good enough. Hold it. See, it kind of seeps around the bottom. We're gonna seep down in there, and just hit there. Just kind of, it's gonna dry the bigger area for it first, but like once this stops moving and then that glue really starts to sit. Now the gel is great because the gel fills it in like almost like a filler, whereas if you use that liquid glue, the liquid glue is very, very thin and it doesn't really fill in, but this gel stuff really fills it in pretty well. So you can kind of see it seeps around there, goes in there pretty well. It's already kind of like set. So before, like while I was wiggling it, the Instaset like sets up right away here, but the glue that's down in here a little bit, down in there, is probably got to like set up a little bit more. But all in all, this is on pretty well. So what I'll do is, like I said, if you're a little concerned, you can take a paper towel and you can sit there and you can kind of wipe it off a little bit. It doesn't really like ruin your paint at all. But there's still like a lot of that liquid in there, and that's fine. We'll let that sit. So basically, the repair is done. So we're just going to put this on the shelf like so, let it sit for the night, and then that is pretty much it. So as you saw, we didn't have to cut off any fingers. We just cut off the hand, and we put the hand over there, and it worked out pretty well. So we have a repaired piece without going crazy, doing all the extra work. So that is it. So hopefully you guys liked the video. Hopefully it gives you guys an idea. If you have extra repairs, or you have items that are glued and you want to swap them out without repairing the fingers, you could go this route. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.